Everybody. Hey. I only can see like three of y'all, like 12 of y'all are like hidden from the camera. But I'm honored to be here with you all. Glad to be a part of this. I'm gonna try to leave a couple minutes at the end for questions, because I know you guys got other workshop stuff to do this evening. I'm gonna just jump right in. So getting ready to do a pitch. First thing is everybody should be signed up for it. I don't understand why there's even a question of did you sign up for the pitch? Like that's ridiculous to me. If you're gonna be a business owner, entrepreneur, consultant, coach, whatever you call it, you got to be a go getter. When somebody dangles the opportunity in front of you, you got to say that's for me and go get it. Sorry, that just needed to be said. It was confusing when you said that everybody hadn't signed up to pitch. Second thing is get your energy right around pitching. Like when you pitch about your business, about your company, your services, think about the end. Like Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is begin with the end in mind. So what's the end that you have in your mind? Pathstone sending you a check for $5,000. It'll be a JP Morgan Chase check or a Citizens Bank check because that's who be sponsoring their stuff. All right. So get that in your mind. Them sending you a check with $5,000 and your name on it. Think about that, right? That sounds like a good day, right? It's gonna be a good day right there. So think about that and take it serious. So like, don't show up to this pitch. So the first tip is take it serious. You see all these other women on this call, they want that money too. Okay, so this is like, think of it like a fight to the death. You know what I'm saying? Think of this like knives out street fight, prison fight to get the money. Except instead of using weapons, you're going to use your words. You're going to use, your knowledge, your experiences. But it's still a sword fight. Don't get it twisted. This is battle, and you should be thinking, I'm going to destroy these other nice ladies so I can get that money. Because think of what could you do with $5,000 for your business, for your family? What would that do for you, right? And they want it too. You know what I'm saying? So take it seriously. And when I say take it seriously, the first step on that is the first piece of that is you got to rehearse. Rehearsals, rehearsals, rehearsals. In the Army, before we would do anything, we had to do 3 rehearsals. So the first rehearsal was they give us the information. Like we stand up there and they say, here's the plan, here's what we're gonna do. The next rehearsal, we would actually get like a sand trap and like take little things and move them around. Like, okay, unit 1 goes here, unit B goes here, right? Third rehearsal, we actually stand up, line up, and then like take a step. Okay, you're gonna go left, you're gonna go right. Rehearsal, rehearsal. So when we go do it, now no matter what happens, a cat jumps out of a trash can, somebody falls out, whatever, we know exactly what to do, where to be there. So I use that same mindset in speaking. Rehearsals, rehearsals, rehearsals. So you want to, everything you want to do, you want to rehearse. So actually get on a Zoom call with a friend, a family member, a colleague, like actually go through it, have them introduce you, pretend like somebody's clapping, and you do the whole pitch, like the whole thing, just like everything with the Zoom, for everything. Rehearse it so much that you got that thing down, and then rehearse it as if your technology doesn't work. Okay, so you want to have one rehearsal where everything goes exactly as planned, and you practice, 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 so you know how to share your screen, you know how to, play some music, you know how to, whatever you're gonna do, put up a poll or a quiz or whatever. Practice with the tech, and then practice as if the tech is not going to be there. Oops, Zoom's not working right. Oops, something had to update. So now you still got to give this award-winning pitch. You still got to give this bomb pitch. Okay. So that's number 2. I'm trying to go fast because I want to leave time for questions. But in the interim, if you could drop any questions in the chat, and Jahida, maybe you can keep an eye on Marisol. Y'all keep an eye on it for me, and so I don't miss anything. So we talk about rehearsals. Yeah. So take it serious. That's one. When you are nervous, you probably don't realize how often you say how often you use filler words. So record yourself, and as part of those rehearsals, record yourself so you can see and hear yourself speak. That is going to tell you a lot. Okay, when you record yourself and you hear your own words, your tone, how nervous you sound, how many times you say like, you know what I mean. when you hear that, it sounds horrible. But saying it, you don't know how bad it sounds. So record yourself. That's part of that rehearsals. All right. Number two, the imposter syndrome. All right. Y'all got to let that go. A lot of times people don't give their full effort because they don't really believe that they're worthy of success. Like they hope they have success, they wish they have success. They don't truly in their soul believe that they are worthy of the greatness that they seek. That somehow they're pretending, like they're going to be exposed, or people will doubt their. Let that go. You've got to overcome that, and again, rehearsals will help with that. But also just know in your mind, everybody's full of shit, right? Like just know in your mind, like everybody is just pretending their way through life. Y'all parents, right? How many times you go in there and talk to your kids and you don't know what you're doing? You just trying to act like you're an expert and you mom knows best, right? But really, you barely keeping it together, right? That's the same in the professional world. Don't let nobody's degrees or their position or nothing fool you. Everybody is just doing the best they can, feeling their way through life with the limited information they have. So you don't have to doubt yourself or feel like you're not good enough. All right. So you got to overcome, because the more you let that imposter syndrome seep in, the less confident you sound, the less sure of yourself, the less of an expert you sound like you are. It undermines your ability to show up as the best version of yourself. That's number two. I feel like I'm talking so fast. Okay. Number three, your story is the difference maker. So again, when you do something, you need to assess the situation. So you're doing a pitch competition, right? Why would someone pick your business over the other 30 businesses that are going to pitch? Is it because you sell the coolest stuff? Is it because you have the nicest backdrop in your virtual call, or you had a picture with the mayor? Like, why would they pick you over someone else? It's going to be your story. How do you connect to them? Right? So you want to make sure in your pitch, yeah, I know you have limited time, but you want to say, here's why I'm an expert and I deserve to win. And here is my story of why I'm passionate and why I care, so that they will then care. Right? So for example, for me, if somebody said, hey, we're going to do a pitch competition, we're going to give a speaker, $5,000, because they don't got a he means business. And I keep trying to get Jahida to make one so I can go win it, because it's going to be easy money. But anyway, they said, we're going to do a he means business pitch competition, right? Here's what I would say. My name is Duncan Kirkwood. I used to train soldiers in the Army on resilience. Now I train young people. In my own life, I had to build my resilience skills after I tried for 10 years to run for public office and then lost not one, but two elections. I had to be resilient and keep going. Now I took what I've learned, I took my military training, and I train people all over the world. We need to bring this to your neighborhood, or whatever. Like, boom. Now you see how I created some credibility real quick. I told you a quick piece of my story to show you why it's real to me and why I care, right? And so now I have set myself apart. I'm not just giving you information, data points, charts and graphs and stuff. I connected with you real quick. And a lot of y'all are from Western New York, so I ran for office and I lost, right? Which means you felt that even more. So you want to, in your pitch, tell your origin story, a quick version of it though, and not your resume. People always think that by telling people all your background information, your awards, oh, you were a Black achiever. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking Black achievers. I'm saying when you're trying to connect, because Black achievers are awesome. My dad was one. All right, just so we're clear. But when you're trying to connect to another person or win an award, it's about the origin story. Why are you you? What was the moment that made you open this business? What was the idea that got you to go from I'm going to work for a living to I'm going to work for myself for a living? I'm going to create something. What was that moment? And so think of that and lean into that. That will really help you to create this pitch. All right. And then the last thing, and then I open it for questions, is be clear and concise. Don't feel like you need to fill every moment with a word. Be clear on what you want to say. Practice it. And then stop. Stop talking. Right? Say what you need to say and then stop. Be very clear. This is what I do. I sell this. I make this. I do these services for these people. It's important to me because of this. Here's when I got my start doing it, why it matters to me and why it matters to us in this community. It's more than a business, it's a movement. It means something to me. Thank you. Right? You don't need to start just random. Well, my cousin in North Dakota, actually, she has a business too. And right, you know what I mean? Like, don't start just randomly saying stuff. According to Forbes and, for the culture, 66% of bath tiles are made with polyester, non-healthy, recyclable. Nobody cares. Tell us why we should care about you. Does that make sense, y'all? Your story is important, but you don't want to be so long. I'm not knocking data, just so we're clear. Data is cool, but don't get so lost in the data that you lose the connection with the other person, with the people that are listening to you. This isn't an AI generated contest. There are people sitting on the other side of the computer that have to listen to 30 random people talk about why they should get this money. You're only going to remember the best stories. They're people. They're only going to remember the best stories. We're wired to remember stories. Like if I asked you, if I say, hey, Liz Hamilton, what did you have for lunch 5 days ago? She has no idea. It would take her 30 minutes to figure it out. But if I say, hey, Liz, the last time you were with your best friend from college or your best friend from high school 6 months ago, what story did she tell you? Well, she, right? You can remember that, right? Because our minds are wired to remember stories. That's why, like, there used to be an African tradition of storytelling as a way to pass down history, because stories stick with us. So what's your story? What's your origin story? So use that, but be clear and concise, get to the point, land the plane. And the more you practice, the more you'll get comfortable. Like if you practice it 50 times, when you show up to your pitch, you ready. You're like, all right, can you make me a co-host, Jahida? Yep. All right, let's get this thing started. Like you're ready. But if you only do it the day before or 2 days before, you write it out, but you don't really go through it all the way. Oops, the technology, my camera's not working. What you gonna do? Oh, but my mic isn't working. What you gonna do? See, if you practiced enough, you would think one time, what if my mic doesn't work? I need to call in with my cell phone and log in so you can see me through the camera and hear me through the cell phone. Because you got to practice that. Does that make sense, y'all? It's important to be ready for this moment because stuff happens. It's just technology. It just happens. So you need to be prepared. All right, I'm gonna pause right there because I don't want to go too long. But I want to open up. Does anybody have any questions or feedback of something that may have been helpful? But I don't just want like a bunch of, oh my gosh, Duncan, you're awesome. I mean, if there's something specific that resonated with you that might add value to the group, or if you have a question, I'm here for it. And Jahida and Marisol, if you could help me.
Yeah.
I haven't looked in the chat, so if they ask something, let me know.
Yeah, sure. So I see Jana, you have your hand up. You want to come off mute?
Yeah, so I'm really curious. How do you tell a long story in one sentence and still say all the stuff we're supposed to say in these 7 slides in 4 minutes without talking a mile a minute?
Got you. So first of all, most stories are a lot shorter than people believe they are. Because when you think through a story, you're thinking through all the moments and all the details of those experiences, but people don't actually need to know all of those. Most stories you could tell right from the middle. Like I told you, I lost this election twice. I prepared for 10 years to run for office and lost twice. That's a quick story. But there's full of details. I knocked on 3,000 doors. I made 10,000 phone calls. We had to raise $20,000. We had to buy robo ads. I got a master's degree in public relations. I joined the Army to become a politician. I worked for Move On. I worked for a state organization. I wrote state policy. I became a parliamentarian, right? Yeah, I've got a long story of how that journey happened, but really there's only a little bit of meat on that bone. Here's all you need to know. I tried this for 10 years and I failed twice. Does that make sense? So for your story, you got to, you write it out, you tell it, you have it all the way written out, and then you just keep cutting it down until you get to what is the one or two, what's the bones of the story. If you think, what's Batman's origin story? It's not about all the cars he built. It's his parents got murdered outside of a theater by a criminal. So now at night he hunts criminals so they can stop crime. I mean, just easy breezy. This is what happened, trauma, blah, blah, blah. Here's what he did. That's the story. But there, in between, there's like 5,000 things. But all we need to know is that. So you gotta just practice it and just keep cutting it, And again, obviously you'll leave some stuff out that could be important, but you have limited time, so you gotta make it happen.
Awesome. Does that answer your question, Jana?
It does. I'm gonna have to trim more stuff out.
All right, Keto, I see your hand up, and then Solar will go right to you.
Hi, good evening. So question about the dress code. I know that it's hit up. Any recommendations? I mean, nowadays you have so many different flavors of how people show up. So for the pitch,
Mhm.
what do you recommend?
Sorry, I'm texting my wife. I gotta make sure she's okay. She's got the newborn at home. Sorry, I wasn't being rude. And if I was, I'm sorry too, but it's my wife.
You're good.
Okay, so that's a great question. I would say, first of all, there are no more rules about dress code. Let's start there.
Mhm.
All right. That ended. That's over. All right. So what I'm wearing right now, this is how I go meet with superintendents and principals. I show up as me.
Okay.
Okay. But if you do that, that means you have to have incredible value. So if you're going to not conform to the professional norms, you need to have incredible value to the point where nobody cares because you're bringing the heat so much. I would say for a pitch competition, it depends on your business. Default is always just like a collared shirt. You know, if you got a polo on, or a collared shirt, a blazer, or something like that, you never go wrong with that. But that doesn't make sense if you're a chef. If you're a chef, put your chef hat on.
Okay.
Right? If you're a plumber, have the plumber thing and the vest. Like, play the role that they need to see to make this choice to invest in themselves. To invest in you. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Does
would
that
just
help?
go ahead, Keto.
No, I was just asking. Is that helpful?
Because you made some great points that I was thinking, and so I feel comfortable wherever I land come day, the day that I pitch, the day that I will be pitching.
Okay,
Yeah.
right
I
on.
would just add, don't have anything that is going to distract from your pitch, right? Like, you come as you are, your authentic self, but unless it's part of the pitch, I would just maybe add in, like, don't have something that's just going to completely distract people and they're not going to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, don't come in with stunner shades or a bonnet or you know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, Jahida is 100% right. I felt like that went without saying, but let's just go ahead and say it and not make any assumptions.
Thanks,
All
I appreciate it.
No
So, Laura,
problem.
you had your hand up?
I did. First, I got to give kudos and respect where respect is due. Duncan, I've been a fan of yours through all of it. And to see you do TED Talk and to be sitting here today, I found out about this by stalking his page after his TED Talk. It was like, hello. And you gave me so much energy. And I've been struggling with identifying my brand. So I want you to know that this has really helped me to do some identifying of the multi-services I offer. But you were talking about timing, and I come from a background of radio, right?
Mhm.
I broke my slides down to like 30-second commercials. Yet my timing leads me at like 3 minutes. So I didn't hit the 4. So I kind of like, and I don't believe in dead air. So for me, what do I do?
So I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You're saying you've done your slides and you practiced it, and you still have an additional minute left,
Yes.
right?
You have an
So
additional minute? Sorry, Duncan. Solar, you have an additional minute, or you're in between 3 and 4 minutes?
No, I'm in between 2.75 and 3 minutes when I'm rehearsing. So I'm trying, and I know I talk fast, but like I'm slowing myself down because I did what you said, and I had people looking at it, and I got to the bones. They were like, yeah, you do all this, but let your pictures say everything that you do, and you need to say, and let your pictures do, and let you need to say. So I went through this mentorship, and I still got like a minute and 25 seconds left.
Gotcha. Okay, so I have a couple of things. First I want to answer your question, then I want to talk about slides. And I should have did this before, so I apologize. But I'm gonna have a session with some of the finalists. Once they pick finalists, I'm actually gonna work with the finalists one-on-one. I don't know if Jahida told y'all that or not, but y'all gonna get a free coaching session with Duncan, which I want you to know I normally charge an exorbitant amount of money for. But anyway.
Amen. I took one.
Okay. But your first question is what do you do with the extra time? Use that time to connect. So lean more into your story, lean more into why you're passionate, or a moment that really changed you, that's going to, something that's going to connect with them, that make them go, dang, I felt that. Oh, I understand why she's so passionate. Oh, I can see where that's going to be. So you could share, something about your origin story that's going to land, or a vision you have for your company. In 5 years, here's what I want my brand to look like. Here's what I want my company to look like in 10 years. And I know that with this money, it's going to help me get there. Let's imagine a world where I'm doing this and that, and I'm impacting that. You see what I'm saying? Like, take them beyond this moment, either in the power of the connection of where you've been, or in the vision of where you want to go. Like, take them beyond this existence in this moment, right? And that will take them on your journey with you. So if you got extra time, do that. Second thing, and I'm glad it helped me bring this up, so this might help everybody. Y'all should not be reading your slides. And I'm so sorry I didn't clarify this. Okay, your slides should have very little information on them. Let's start there. One, they should have very little information. And two, you should not be reading the slides. They could read. They don't need you to read the slides. Okay, so you don't need to do that. Your slides should be like a reminder or something to bolster what you're saying. So I'll give you an example. For my slides, when I'm speaking to students, one of my points is failure is like falling off a bike. When you fall off a bike, you get back on the bike, you fall again, you get back on the bike, you get the balance, you learn. The falls help you. They're helpful in your journey to success, right? So on the slide, I could have put failure, failure helps you on your journey, or failure finds a balance, right? But I don't. I got a picture of a kid on a bike. And then the next slide is a picture of a kid falling off a bike. That's it. And I'm talking through, so they're just visual representations. And so some of my slides have words on them, like when I talk about perseverance, it has the definition of perseverance on it, right? So I'm not saying you should never have words. I'm saying you should never have paragraphs. And I'm saying you should never be reading off the slide. It should be a cue or a reminder or a main point or something you want to lift up. So as you're talking, you're not like, here's my next slide. Okay, let me talk about this slide. Here's my next slide. Oh, let's also talk about my outreach strategy. Here's my next slide. Right, that's not the flow. The flow is, I'm having a conversation with you almost. Jahida, when I do outreach, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make a difference. And I just click the slide. I don't even stop talking. I just go to the next slide and it shows me sending emails or making phone calls or selling out at Juneteenth. And when we hit Juneteenth last year, we did so much business that blah, 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 that hit the slide. And then there's a picture of me high-fiving at Juneteenth. Does that make sense? So use the slides as just something to bolster your conversation, not the focal point.
You definitely hit that on the nose. And at first, when my team was looking at it, they're like, okay, so what you doing, a play? And I'm like, no. Well, what, you writing another book? And I'm like, no. They said, well, show how people engage with you. And I think that's the part that has been lost over the years of building a brand, because you just named something. I'm at Juneteenth. I'm high-fiving, but on my slide, I may put, I'm at Juneteenth. So I've had to do a lot of reversing to show the numbers matching the visual. So I wanted to know, and I will, like, that minute, trust me, I don't have a problem with pulling people in, but I was like, I wanted to be sure that was safe. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No
those
problem.
are great questions, Solar. And just to clarify, the timing for the pitch is between 3 to 4 minutes. So if you end at 3 minutes and 1 second, you're going to get the full amount of points for that. The same as if you end at exactly 4 minutes, right? So you don't have to fill the full 4 minutes, but you just have to land between 3 and 4 minutes. So that goes for everybody, just to clarify on that.
Thank you.
And yeah, you're welcome.
And
Go ahead.
none of y'all, under no circumstances, when you time yourself, should end at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, when you rehearse your talk, when you go through it, if you're at like 340, 350, close to the end, that does not mean you close your laptop and said, all right, I'm ready to go. No. That means you need to cut. Nobody should be more than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Because what's going to happen is they may have a question for you. You may start riffing because you're nervous. So you talk longer about something than you practiced. right? And that eats into your time. So you want to give yourself like that buffer of at least 30 seconds in case whatever happens, your kid runs up to you while you're talking, or somebody has, or something. Just sometimes when you're in the flow, when you got your crown on and you just are totally in your flow, something will jump into your mind like, "Ooh, this is real deep. I gotta say this. This is gonna be so helpful." But if you don't have time, if your time is 3:45 and you go to make that point, now you blew it. Now you overtime, it's over. So give yourself some buffer time. Thank you for saying that, Jahida.
Yeah, of course. And there were just two last questions because I know we are on very limited time with you, Duncan. So one of the questions was, how do you overcome freezing? And then I see Ashley with her hand up.
Okay. So overcome freezing. All right. Normally I would have a different answer for how do you overcome freezing, but because y'all gonna be on Zoom, it's easy breezy. Okay, this is like if your kids get a take-home test. Y'all see what I'm talking about? So when you have next to your computer, you need to have a bunch of notes written out. You put them on the wall behind you, next to you. You got your outline next to you, because you can look to the side, look at next I need to talk about this. Oh, there's the data point. Don't forget that. So it will help you because you're not gonna freeze, because you can put the things around you. Shoot, if you really wanted to, like I don't want to tell you to cheat, but if you really wanted to, you could just open a Word document and type what you're gonna say. Because once you turn Zoom on, it just looks like I'm looking at the camera. But if I'm changed screens, you don't know that I'm on a different screen right now, but I am. So you don't have to worry about freezing because you can write the information out, right? So that's number one. So yeah, that was the first question. And then Ashley, what was your question?
So you mentioned people asking questions. Questions are a part of our 3 to 4 minutes.
I don't know the answer to that. Jahida, can you help
I'm
me out
sorry.
with that?
Say that again, Ashley.
He had mentioned like, because somebody asked about like if you freeze up or something, and he had mentioned that somebody might ask a question that might throw you off. So people are going to be asking questions, and that's a part of our 3 to 4 minutes, or is there a
No.
question after after?
The question would not be counted towards your pitch time. Your pitch time, it's just you presenting the information 3 to 4 minutes. Once you are done with your pitch, the judges may ask a question, but that does not count towards your
Okay.
time itself. But to Duncan's point, right? If you're in this vibe and you're like, oh, this amazing thing, I gotta mention it, and like you start going off the cuff, that might mess you up. So definitely it's a huge benefit to you to give yourself a little bit of a wiggle room just in case.
Okay, thanks.
And then I know you said that we were finished with that question, Jahida. I mean, if somebody had another one, I got another couple minutes if you saw they had one, but if not, I'll leave with this.
Okay.
Each one of you rock stars should have the mindset that this is your money. You should have the mindset, I'm coming to get it. Like I'm coming to get it. I'm not coming here to be nice and make friends and network on Zoom and just sit through some workshops and make it seem like I feel good. Like you got professional trainers, you should be taking notes to grow your business. But now it's pitch time and you should be thinking, I'm coming to get that money. I'm just coming to get it. Right? But if you play around with it, you ain't gonna win. I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you. If you won't start working on this until Monday night, it's over. You know, you can just email Jahida and say, you know what? I'm not even gonna show up because it ain't happening. Because there's some women on here, they said 5,000, that will get me where I need to be for the next 2 months. That will get my business that opportunity to grow. That will get my family. That will fix my car. That will, whatever it is. There's people on here that's thinking, because if I was on here, I wouldn't even say nothing. I wouldn't even ask questions. I'd be secretly asking questions to Jahida because I wouldn't want y'all to hear the answers to the questions because I'm coming to get the money. But anyway, I'm gonna just leave it there. So I wish you all well.
Wait,
I
don't leave, Duncan. Don't leave, because you're a community bully, and I got to talk about you after you just said that. I didn't know I had a choice not to pitch when it came from you. So listening to you right now, that's how I felt as soon as I saw it on your page. Like, yo, if you scared, go home. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because you instill that in everything you do. So whether we ever get a chance to tell you that to your face, I really didn't think I had an option when you posted it. And I said, I do. It was like, yo, I don't even want to look at you later on in the community if I don't pitch. So I love you. Have a great day. Bye.
Listen, thank you all. I wish y'all all success. I look forward to the 10 of you that I'll get to work one-on-one with in preparation for the final pitch. And I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing I don't do. Marty So and Jahida sent me some information about a grant. Don't tell nobody else on here about it, Jahida. But I think the deadline passed anyway. But she sent me about a grant for 25 G's. I did it the same day. I was in a pool in Arizona, and I said, I'm doing it right now. Okay, because I don't let opportunity go by. That's how you win at business. When somebody says, here's an opportunity, you got to go get it and take it serious. So anyway, I wish you all well. Nothing but good vibes, peace and love. Before I leave, something about a TED Talk.
Yes, if you could share your TED Talk, Duncan, the participants to see that.
So they haven't given us the video yet. They haven't uploaded it. So once they do, I'll share that out, and I'll send it to you, Jahida, and you can push it out to everybody. But
Perfect.
I did do a TEDx talk. It is probably going to be one of the most viewed TED Talks in history, and it is going to take me to an international level. So I'm very happy that it happened here in Buffalo, and I'm looking forward to whatever comes of it. See, I'm just speaking that into existence. You feel? That's what I'm talking about. I'm thorough about this. All right, I'm out of here. Peace and love, y'all.
Thank you, Duncan. We appreciate you. All right. So are we all pumped up to pitch? Because I know we still have a few folks that have not signed up yet. We will definitely be letting everyone know in terms of eligibility based on attendance. But I hope everyone is super excited, super pumped to pitch. As Duncan said, please practice. Do not take this lightly. We are here for you, right? That's kind of what this is. So Kim is going to continue on with today's course. After break, we're gonna pop in a little poll, and let me just kind of tell you what it's about. So our sponsor Citizens, they actually reached out to us and are interested in doing a bit more of like a roundtable discussion. And that's with the participants of She Means Business, not only this cohort, but past cohorts. And in particular, we'd like to get our past winners in there. So we're still trying to figure out if it's going to be in person or if it's going to be virtual. But really, they just want to have an opportunity to see what you are all up to. Right. So for those that have already participated in She Means Business, and even those that won, kind of what has this money been able to do for you in your business. For those that maybe did not win the money, but still obviously participated in the program, what have you now been able to do within your business? Like, where did you go after She Means Business? And what are some things that you are looking for in the future, right? So maybe it's certain products to help you expand your business. Maybe there's certain challenges that even right now, as you're participating in the course, maybe there's certain challenges that we haven't covered during the course that you're like, I really wish I had knowledge on X, Y, and Z, right? So think about that. Like I said, we'll pop in that poll in a little while later today, just to understand, what are some topics, and if that's something that you would be interested in attending, right? Because the idea is, as I know we've said in many other workshops, the only way that this works is if we maintain the lines of communication open, right? So we can only help you if you give us the feedback of what it is that you need to be successful. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say for now. Kim, please take it away.
All right, ladies. I'm hoping you put your shanks away. Nobody's going to be poking anybody during this call, but keep that fire, keep that energy. I'm for it. And I'm just going to set the stage that we're going to break at 6:15, do the 15 minutes and get on, because there's a lot of stuff to cover for this last session, but we're going to do it in a friendly manner. So let me get my share screen up. And I also noticed I am glitching all over the place. So please let me know if you can't hear or can't see. Feel like I'm freezing and
we can hear you well, Kim.
Wonderful.
No screen yet. No
yeah, my screen is spinning right now.
No presentation. See, this is what we were talking about with technology, right?
Right.
Gone 5 weeks, all good.
And here we are. screen, I'm frozen and my mouse is just spinning.
You sure it's not the note taker, Kim? Maybe. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe it's causing some issues. No.
Oh, she left.
Oh, we lost Kim, but we still have her note taker. All right, let's see. She will be back.
Maybe we should take a break now.
All right. We're just waiting for Kim to pop back in. So thank you all for your patience.
Yeah, Hater, we're not doing practicing until Thursday, right?
Right, this
Okay.
Thursday. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you have your slides ready as if it was like pitch day, basically. All right, Kim is
I'm
coming.
just struggling with one slide, but mine is done.
Okay, perfect. And then you will, like I said, we'll give feedback during lab as well. You know, really the major part of Thursday is going to be practicing the pitch. So again, practice, 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 time yourself. And then, you know, we'll still have that opportunity to provide feedback on your slides. And I also put it in the chat, but if you want to send those slides over as well, you can email them to Marisol. And then, you know, we can kind of provide feedback via email as well. So just a heads up on that. Kim, are you back? I thought I saw you. Mm. Oh, okay. Oh,
I think so.
there we go. Okay.
I'm gonna leave my screen off just in case that's the issue,
Okay.
and then get into the slideshow. As soon as this shares,
Okay.
taking its time.
In the meantime, I'll go through any questions. So Jana, thank you for that question. You will not get docked this Thursday as you're practicing. If you go longer than 4 minutes, you won't get docked for the future. What we will do is I think we'll have that timer on there. So for example, in past pitches, we've had people go 7 minutes long as an example. We will not be doing that because we want to, you know, make sure that we're respectful of everyone's time and time goes by really quickly when a ton of people are pitching. So we'll at least, you know, give you a heads up like, hey, you know, you got to essentially 10 extra seconds past the 4. And then at that point, you know, we'll let you know like, oh, you know, a ding, a bell, something will go off. So again, just practice as much as you can so that you don't get cut off. I'm famous for that. So I apologize in advance. So yes.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful. We're gonna be talking about target customer lead generation. We have talked about target customer quite a bit during this cohort, but it is absolutely something that is the core of your business. And when you're talking about pitching, as Duncan was talking about your story and how you don't want to read the slides and make it a much more engaging presentation, when you are done with this 4-minute pitch, your panelists should understand who your target customer is just by the way you talk about how you serve them. Because your story is not about you, but it is about how you serve or how your business serves your customer, your target customer. So who are they? Where do they get that product or service? All that stuff needs to be baked into that initial introduction statement because you want to make sure you are clear who your target customer is. So when you think about it, you are a target. You are somebody's target customer. So when you think of the things that you use on a regular basis, businesses you go to, things that you saw on the internet while you were scrolling, maybe in your social media and you clicked on it, what was it that spoke to you? What is it about you that made it show up for you? I hear very often when people talk about, I say, who's your target customer? It's females age 25 to 60 who make $35,000, between $35,000 and $60,000. First of all, that's an enormous range, 25 to 60. But how did you get there? What makes them your target customer? And it's difficult for people to make that switch until they realize they are somebody's target customer. Go back through the messaging of the products and services that you use and look at it to see what is it about that messaging that speaks to me. Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I have kids? Is it because I work a certain profession? Do that work to see what makes you a target customer. And that's going to help you look at your target customer a little differently. Does anybody have questions on that? I'm going to be moving a little bit fast tonight so I can make sure we get through everything. So just jump right off mute if you have a question. So demographics and psychographics, those are the two categories of the information you want to collect about your target customer. Demographics are the things on the left: your age, your income, your education, your marital status. The other side of it, the psychographics, are more like what makes you tick. What are those subconscious things about you that make you click buy now? Some of those could be about your community involvement. Some of those could be about how you grew up as a child. Some could be about your religion. You need to understand those things about your customer. And it's difficult because it's not like a database you could go to and say, tell me about the psychographics of a 40-year-old female who grew up in a rural area and has 4 children. That database does not exist yet. I'm sure Google is working on it. But in the meantime, you should be able to glean some of that information from the customers you already have. We're going to talk about that in a second. So questions, if you can, just jump right off. So who can tell me what are some demographics that would most likely apply to this outfit?
Age.
Mm-hmm.
Status.
Gender,
Mm-hmm.
This is
financial.
Say
this
again.
this would be most likely a young professional, highly educated, and that has a high status in society or wants to appear to be high status and likes the finer things in life.
How do you know that?
By the clothing.
What is it about the clothing that
It's high-end clothing, it's neutral colors, so it's not big and flashy, but if everything was together, it probably would be big and flashy. But this person has a sense of style, they pay attention to things, they want things that are timeless, that are again high-end in pricing. They want to hold a certain status when people see them. Um, and they're definitely a professional and highly educated, most likely.
Thank you. Does anyone disagree, or does anyone have other input they want to add?
I disagree. Location.
More because, oh, sorry.
Who's
Oh,
that?
I would say location also plays a factor because of the type of, like the scarves, the turtleneck, the trench coat. Likely this is not gonna be somebody, if it were like a fashion brand, it's not likely gonna be somebody in like Hawaii or somewhere where it's hot.
Okay, what else?
It also looks like a person with a lot of confidence. They put their wardrobe together. They carry a bag to show prestige. I think it's someone who has confidence and is kind of secure with who they are.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have
also
anything
add
else?
The
that
accessories.
oh, I'm sorry.
Me too.
Oh,
Go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna be quick. Thank you, Solar. I was gonna say probably also someone who may have disposable ink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the accessories speak a lot when you talk about high end. Some people can just wear an outfit, right? So you can go to the thrift store and get this, but I do agree with the high end, looking at the accessories of the bag, the watch, and especially the keychain. That lets you know that that person pays attention to detail, and that's what they pay for is the detail.
So do you see how easy that is? That is a whole combination of demographics and psychographics just from a picture. That's really where you want to be with your target customer. So if you said, this is my business, who are the kind of people who would buy from that business? I see you, Solar.
I needed this. I need this outfit. Can you send this to me?
So this is where you want to be able to say, I can look at this and I can tell things about it. So that's something you should do for your business. I'm going to put together the outfit that personifies my business. And then from there, I can say, well, who are the type of people who might shop at this business? Who, if you think of it almost like a mate, who is the partner to a business like this? That's how you build
Me,
that
I am a partner. I want that business. We need to be together. I want that, all that.
That's how you really want to sit down and start breaking down that target customer. And that psychographic data will just come to you. And it doesn't have to be etched in stone. If you put this idea together of who your target customer is, and then you find out that through the course of business, there's some element that you didn't expect, but these people are responding to, then you can change that persona. You can add to it, you can delete from it, you can modify it, whatever, but you must start with something. And I find that the visual is a little easier to bridge that gap when you first start out building that first persona. Comments, questions? Other than I'm gonna have to get this over to Solar before the end of the day.
I just had a Harlem Nights event and I was like mad because a lot of my clientele that supported the tickets were able to find something. But if I would have worn like something like this, I would have loved this dress.
Yes. So this is the kind of profile that you want to be thinking about for your target customer. And I really want to reemphasize target customer. This is not the person who could buy from you. This is the person who is most likely to buy from you. This is the person you're going to be speaking to. When we talk about commercials before, these are the people who are displayed in the commercials and in the ads. Even though other people could be customers, these are the people most likely to be customers. And so building this up helps you really target your messaging. It targets it influences your images. It influences the things you say on your website. It helps you build blog posts that boost your SEO on Google so people can find you. Because instead of this is your target customer, you have this demographic, psychographic information. What if you had something that, let's say your product was a closet organizer, but your target customer grows her own vegetables. So how about doing a blog post on growing vegetables and all that, and maybe storing the tools in that closet organizer to tie it to your product. But having this information helps you really speak to these people on a very different level than just hitting them over the head and say, buy my closet organizer. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody good with all of that? I'm going to say, yes, you are.
Yes.
I see a couple thumbs up.
Good, good. So as I was talking about, you want to be able to speak to them from different angles. You don't want to just have it be, you have this wonderful, groundbreaking unicorn product, and as soon as everybody sees it, they're going to press buy, buy, buy. Because that never happens, by the way. But you want to be able to come to them at different angles and show them how you solve their problem in a way that shows them that you know them. So when you're able to talk about the psychographic information and able to show those things in your ads. So again, you have a woman 25 to 35 and you're selling her this closet organizer, but you're showing her pulling clothing items that she's going to pack from your closet organizer as she travels the world and then comes back and puts it back into this organizer. You're speaking to her beyond just the organizer, because the last thing you want to be about is price. And if you don't know the benefits and features of your product or service, price tends to come into it, and that's where you start losing it, literally. So to get some of that psychographic information, my mouth just wants to keep saying psychedelic. This psychographic information, talk to the people who already buy from you. That is really a good way to begin the conversation and begin that discovery. Social media. So when you're talking about social media and where to put it, you want to be thinking about who that target customer is from an age perspective. That's just one aspect of it. But I really want you to look at how tight these ranges are. It's not like 30 to 55. That's a huge range. So bring that in and really, really don't just bring it in arbitrarily. Think about why it matters how old they are, because there may be some things that won't matter. Age might not factor into your product or service at all. Most times it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't matter if they're male or female. Sometimes it doesn't matter if they have kids or not. Don't just pick some because that's what all you've heard demographic information sound like. Think about your product or service. Keep the age range tight. Understand where your audience is. So if you have these people in your product or service and your target customer is 45, then this is telling you that LinkedIn is probably going to be where you're going to find those people. And clearly what you're going to see is there's a huge difference in the amount of usage on any social platform for that age range. So that's where, again, you got to say, is that the best bang for my buck to put it on social media? Is my target customer somewhere else? But building this into your strategy, understanding where I'm going to have this available to you. This is a link to a guide that is constantly updated that gives you a little more detailed information about social media and where people are spending their time. Comments, questions? So I know we've heard about these demographic cohorts, Gen X, Gen Y, baby boomers, all this. Well, what does it mean?
Hey, Kim, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Jana asks, how much of this detail needs to be in the pitch?
It should be, this is not something that you want to layout, that's not the right word. You want to build this into your description of your target customer in a way that it's not just my target customer is blah, 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 because that's shows that you really haven't done the research to really build in the benefits of your target customer. One of the slides is around your target customer, and it should be a persona much more than a bulleted list of descriptions. Does that make sense? So it should not be my target customer is age 35 to 45, female, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if this is publicly available. I really haven't looked, but Liz Claiborne has what they call the Liz Lady. And they are dead serious about who that lady is, to the point where they literally can go into an event and pick out the Liz ladies. That's really where you want to be for this pitch. Who is that person overall? When I go outside, how do I know that I can see them? That's what you want in your pitch.
I think really,
And again, that is very, very quick, not a whole dissertation about them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just think since I'm focusing on just the one product that is mainly a B2B kind of thing, would it be enough in the pitch to say, my target customer are large and mid-sized brands that are looking for blah, 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 blah.
Just make sure you add that are looking for blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I have that in there, but I just wasn't sure if I need to be like, a specific brand idea, of like, if, my target brand is, I don't know, Twitter, right? Old Twitter when they were still cool. Right? Like, do I need to say that, or is it just saying, they are these, people who work for these brands who are looking for sustainable, memorable, unique, meaningful corporate swag or whatever? Is that what you're looking for?
Here's a way to guide it. And this again is for everybody. These are not mutually exclusive slides. So the way that Pat Stone has them together so that they sort of build on each other. So your target customer slide is going to tie into that lead generation slide, meaning if you tell me that your target customer is a baby boomer and they're they're planning their retirement and moving to somewhere warm like a snowbird, but then you tell me your lead generation is all TikTok and Facebook, that's probably not going to connect together. So you see how that works. The reason you're showing your target customer is to show that you know them enough to be able to develop a lead generation process, and that when you tell these lead generation numbers, they're believable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's really where you want to get to, where you have set the stage with your target customer for the lead generation. And that's as much detail as you need to get into. But this is for you to understand as you're building that, even though it's not necessarily part of your pitch, this is something you're going to want to obviously know for your business and build into that. So back again, when you're trying to figure out this long list of possible demographics, where do I start? Start with your product or service. Understand those benefits. I can't say that enough. Your product or service is not about the features. It's not even about you. It's about the benefits that your customer is going to get as a result of buying your product or service. You need to know those in, out, and sideways. You need to talk about them every single time you talk about your business. Because if you're unclear what the benefits are, so will your customers. You need to be able to clearly show what that is so they clearly know when I buy it, what I'm getting. Start with those benefits and then think about who will benefit, who will need that benefit. Why is this benefit important to someone? What do they look like? Go back to that exercise with the outfit. What does that person who has this problem that needs this benefit look like? How do they dress? And then that's going to help build that outline out. And then you just really put that into a simple format. So you have a starting place for that persona. Does that make sense? Really handicapped not being able to see people. Are we good with this?
Looks like we are, Kim. Let's see. Yep, we got a yes. So
Ooh.
we're good to go, Kim.
All right. So this is just a sample buyer persona, a format where you can keep all of that information in and update it on a regular basis. The quote is really just a what might be something that that target customer might say about your product or service. What's that top of mind comment, remark, thought that they will have when they engage with your product or service? Goals and needs, you should have that understanding. Why do they need your product or service? What made them go looking for your product or service? Those motivations, what's going to make them buy? What is going to make them say, yes, put it in the cart, here's my card? Pain points, we've talked about those before. Why are they hurting? Where are they hurting? Are they hurting the same way you think they're hurting? Can you agree, you and the customer agree what that pain is? And then make sure you know and understand it. And as you should also be thinking, what happens to this pain when they engage with my product or service? Is this a pain that once they buy from me, the pain goes away? Is this something that they're going to need me alleviating this pain over and over again? Is it gonna go away for a minute and come back? You need to understand what happens to that pain once they engage with you. Interests, again, are great ways to engage with your target customer without the obvious ask of a sale. Blog posts, social media posts, resharing of links and other people's posts that matter to your target customer. The interest section is a great place for content. Why did they choose you? Let's hope price is not one of those, but why did they choose you? Ask those questions of your customer. Use surveys, use little things at the bottom of your website that allows them to say, hey, at the checkout, here's why I bought it. Have a place in your social media to talk about why they bought it, reviews. These are all places to get that information from your customers. This center section is really just an overall high-level profile of that customer. That, again, helps you when you're out in the community to say, is that my customer? One of the things I forgot to mention, this is all input by you. Even this middle section, even that picture is a representative of your target customer. That name, age, occupation, that's what you've decided your target customer, what that profile is of your target customer. This is the Liz Lady version, or excuse me, the Liz Lady format, where you've identified this is about what they look like. This is about the information that I would have on them. These are the people that I would be looking for when I'm out in the social media streets, putting out posts and whatnot.
Hey, Kim.
Narrative, I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you, Kim. Let me know when you're ready for a question.
Oh, you go right ahead.
Okay. Question is the target buyer persona a format we should always use or make our own?
You can make your own, whatever works for you. You just need to have some sort of container for that information. It should be a container that's easily updated so that as you learn more about your customers, you can refine it. It should hold as much information as you need to be able to identify who that target customer is. This is a very detailed thing. This really is like, I can spot my target customer at 100 paces, but it doesn't need to be this. I'm actually going to provide HubSpot has an online tool that allows you to build a persona, and there's different versions. So you can do whichever one fits more for your business. That answer the question? I'm gonna say
Jess,
yes.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, I nodded my head and thought you could hear it rattle.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, so it is 3:15. I'm gonna honor the break. We're gonna go
6:15, Kim, you mean?
6:15. Listen, I'm on
Okay.
the West Coast.
Okay.
3:15. 6:15. We're going to take a 15-minute break, come back, finish up with some lead generation, and then questions before we get ready for that whole pitch stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. As mentioned, folks, I will put in the link to the quick survey just so we can get an understanding of what you are interested in. I'll put that in maybe in the next 5 minutes or so. So if you come back early or not, it's there for you to fill out. Jess, what time should we be back after break? Can folks stay on to chat informally? Yeah, feel free to stay on. Well, this is still an open space. We're just gonna go ahead and pause the. Thank you. All right, we're good to go.
Thank you. So who can tell me a little bit about their lead generation process?
Hi, this is Keto. I'll share with you mine.
Okay.
And so I actually, from the class, I am going to do lead generation with hospice because that'll be a source of generating some leads, and then also estate planning with an attorney that works in that field. Those are two solid net new lead generation opportunities. And then I will be taking full advantage of my brother and his funeral business that he's been in for over 20 plus years, and then leaning on my father with his construction business that he's been in for 45 plus years, and just really leveraging those resources that I personally and professionally know to continue to drum up the business. And I'm currently doing a proof of concept.
Okay.
So I know that I'm onto something that is passionate for me, that I want to give back to whomever that needs it.
All right. Now, when you're thinking about that, which is all great stuff, thinking about that, going all the way back to the beginning about capacity and scale and understanding how many clients can you personally serve? Are you bringing in enough leads to keep that capacity full? And if so, what's your plan for scaling? Because you don't want to get into a position where you aren't able to deliver. I think I mentioned early on in the conversation during the break, just reminded me of a company that was on Instagram that had a product that everybody raved about, that I was looking for, found it, ordered something, and I saw in the comments, oh, it takes a long time to get it because they're making it fresh. They're doing it personally for everybody, for every order. It's been 2 years and I still don't have it. So you want to make sure you are generating the leads that are commensurate with your capacity.
Absolutely. Great example.
Mhm. So anybody else has a lead generation process?
I do. Mind my 2-year-old smashing my keyboard. I'm curious for the pitch deck. Do you want to have in there, like, these are all the ways that we have been doing lead generation so far that has been working? Or do you want to put it as, for this specific goal that we have from this pitch, we're going to do A, B, and C?
Yeah, the thinking again about the connection between the slides, your lead generation slide, and I have a sample a little bit later in here. That is tied to your ask. So if you're saying that you need $50,000, you're using your lead generation to say, we're going to make X amount of that 50,000 from my leads and the sales from my leads. And then that 5,000 is going to pay for this amount. So your lead generation slide should tie into where the leads coming from that are generating that sale, that amount of sales that you say you're going to have that go towards closing the gap from what you need and what you're going to win in the pitch competition.
So, for the lead generation that I have, previously we've been doing social media for a long time, so I'm planning to continue doing that. And then my plan for scaling our leads up to where they need to be to get us closer to our capacity, is by doing PR, because I have 3 children. I only have so many hours in the day to go do in-person networking, but I know that me in front of people sells our product better than anything else. So I am going to invest in PR to get our brand in magazines, on news features, and high-end podcasts, doing speaking engagements, that kind of thing, to be able to get our product in front of more eyes at once, ideally the eyes that are the people who are in charge of the sustainability and the marketing departments of medium and large brands that are out there. That's my lead generation slide, pretty much.
Well, so again, how are you generating the leads? So $5,000 can pay for some PR, but you're going to need more than that. So how much more are you going to need for that PR campaign? And then what lead generation are you doing to get the sales to pay for that gap?
So I'm planning to continue doing the lead generation that I've already been doing that has been working well. In addition to adding in PR to what we've already been doing. I looked it up, and we've only spent $1,200 on paid ads, and we've generated $500,000 in revenue since 2019. So I know what I'm doing works pretty well, considering the amount of time that I actually spend doing it, because I spend a lot of my time with my kids. So,
but is your target customer, did you say you're doing B2B? And that
for this
is
particular product, yes.
And that customer is you're reaching your B customers on social media?
Some of them I reach on LinkedIn, some of them I reach by going to networking things in person, which is why I wanted to be able to do more, like being the speaker at a conference where those people are attending and that type of thing, and kind of using my thought leader platform. I've been developing more of a thought leader platform to be able to go to an event and reach the entire crowd instead of going to the event and talking to 10, 20 people that I have time to talk to. So that's why I want to be able, I'm working on a book and I'm working on a course. And I want to be able to use the PR to promote those, to be able to get more speaking engagements, to be in front of more people at once.
So if what you're doing right now is already working, then you would just detail that on the slide to show. But again, I would say if I would be looking to see if what you're doing right now is kind of keeping your levels, your sales here. I would be looking to see what are you going to do to ramp that up a little bit to pay for that additional investment in the PR that's going to then boost you up a little higher. That makes sense.
Okay.
And maybe putting that little cutie out front might be a good way to do that.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, she has no time to do anything. Look at all these.
Can we have, we do have a question in the chat. I know, Jess, you said it wasn't urgent, so I'm gonna go with Liz real quick. She has her hand up.
Okay.
Liz, do you have a question?
I was just wondering, so when you were talking about the lead generation and how we use that to fill the gap between the $5,000 and what's actually needed. So as you know, my business hasn't started yet. So for that part, I was actually going to put that it's going to be personal investment. Is that okay to do?
You can do some personal investment for sure. But
Okay.
I would imagine that when you're talking about your product, or excuse me, your revenues, your sales, your lead generation, that should all be projections. Because
Right.
when you're not starting or you haven't started yet, what your panelists will probably be looking for is that you have established that you have a wide enough audience for this to be a business.
Okay.
You know, if you think when people have side hustles, they're working full time, have the business on the side, it is one of the easiest ways to mask the fact that you're not profitable, because you will funnel your own cash into the business without even thinking about it and really stepping back and say, if I did not do this, how long would this business survive? So when you're talking about a business that hasn't started, you want to be able to show that you have a process to reach that target customer and that target customer is wide enough to sustain the business once it
Okay.
gets going.
Okay, I just want to make sure they aren't going to be like, okay, well, if that's what you're doing, because it's not in, I haven't made that money yet. So, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you, Kim. And all right, so Jess says, do you recommend an organic lead generation or paying for lead lists? Incremental growth seems more sustainable than exponential growth, but the industry preference seems to be the latter.
I am not a fan of buying leads. I just feel like you really want to find a way to connect with your target customer. When you buy leads, it's almost like the old salesman with the lead list. What was that movie? Glenn Ross with the packet of leads. You can grow organically and you can grow quickly if you are willing to really look at different ways of meeting your target customer. If you think about what we talked about just a little earlier in one of the other slides, if you understand who they are, what's important to them, what they're going through, you've got a myriad of ways to talk to them through blog posts, through Instagram posts, through videos that really speak to who they are, what they're dealing with, and why they will benefit from what you have to offer. To me, that's going to get you much better leads. You might get fewer leads, but they will be better leads than purchasing a list. That's just my own personal view. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I think one of the things I've been curious about is like, how do you assess the lead quality? Some leads are important when they buy, and other leads are important when they introduce you to new customers. So, how do you keep track or suggest that we keep track aside from like just a spreadsheet?
Well,
Is there-
are you talking when you say after they buy it, essentially a referral source?
Well, like some leads become customers and some leads become referrals and some leads are dead, right? So when you talk about a quality lead and not purchasing lead lists, I'm just wondering how you assess like what makes a lead quality over transitioning into a client. Does that make sense?
Sure. And we're going to talk a little bit about the customer journey in couple of slides down here, but initially you want to have at least some way to determine if this could be a customer. So I know if I remember correctly with you, you're saying everybody should be able to afford to get a divorce. So you probably wouldn't have an income restriction or an income, something that determines the income. But what would you use as a factor to say, this is a person who speaks to my business, who wants my type of process? And I've never been divorced, so I'm just going to go off what I see on TV. But is the kind of customer you want to work with somebody that's like, I want to destroy them. I want everything they have. I want to do that. Is that aggressive type? So is there some way you can filter for that? Is it a person who is just saying, I want this as quick as possible, whatever that looks like, however that happens, I just want to be free? Is that the kind of person you're looking for? And can you filter for that? So though when I say quality, it depends on your business, but you want a customer that really fits that persona that you've created. And that's the kind of stuff you would filter for through I'm sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I apologize. Were you done? I thought that you were, but maybe
Yes, you can go ahead.
Right. So one of the things that I've been really surprised by of going from assigned leads to cultivating my own leads is that I never know who could be a customer. And maybe this is relevant for other folks too, but like narrowing in on what type of customer I want is helpful for my business development, but it's pretty limiting for me to be open to anybody being a customer, right? It's kind of like if you only cut curly hair, you don't know if you're good cutting straight hair or vice versa. So I guess maybe it's just like something that I'm thinking about in the back of my head. But if I'm going to limit the clients into a certain persona, like we talked about before, and I'm going to try to cultivate leads that lead me to that persona of client, then I have to have a way to assess the lead. Right? Like it can't just be that they're a nice person and they say, oh, you have a great business. It has to be somebody who has access to folks who might be getting divorced. And so I think that differentiation is hard for me to wrap my head around.
I would say first that you are not necessarily limiting yourself because anybody can use you. It's just you want to be able to determine who's most likely to use you so that you can present yourself in a way that they can also identify themselves to you. And if that is the referral sources, if you will, being your target customer, then you want to say, what is it about these referral sources that is common? What are some common traits in them? And what are some common traits in why they refer people to me? And that's the kind of persona you're building, not necessarily something that says only these people can use me or only these people can I'm only going to go out and look just for these people to use my service. It is, how am I presenting so that those people recognize me and I recognize them? Does that help?
Thank
Okay,
you. It's nice
sure.
to have your soothing voice when my mind is going a mile a minute.
Thank you. All right. So as we keep talking about this process, lead generation is critical. It is the literal lifeblood of your business. If you don't have people coming in, then there's no one to sell to, so to speak. And you are at the mercy of who sees your ad or who sees your flyer or who sees your commercial and just waiting for the doorbell to ring and the phone to ring. Lead generation is a proactive way to get business. It is a straight numbers game. And that makes it so freeing if you think about it that way, that the more people I get in, the greater chances I have to sell and the more revenue I'm going to make on the other end. And the way that I get those people in is by, I know who they are as my target customer. Now I can create opportunities for them to see me. That's truly the crux of lead generation. And every business needs that. So when you think about generating leads for your business, creating that funnel, which we're going to look at, is going to give you that visual of moving them through your process. There is another thing called a customer journey, and that is almost like I think of it like Candyland, the game Candyland. It's got the little winding path, colorful winding path. That's almost what you want to think about. How does that customer move through my business from the time they get to know who I am to the time that they are referring me to someone else? Who are they talking to? What are they touching? What from my business are they experiencing? Is it the website? Is it the social media posts? Is it the Facebook group? Is it videos on YouTube? You want to know what all of that is. And when you put it all together, you're going to be able to see exactly how you're going to move those leads from being leads, prospects, into actual customers. And you want to have a process for that. That should not be something that's willy-nilly, where you just go, okay, you come in and each customer has a different journey. Does that make sense to everybody? Good. So lead magnet, I'm sure most of you have heard of a lead magnet. Many of you have probably purchased, or you don't purchase them typically, but many of you have downloaded a lead magnet. You go to any of these sites now, this, hey, we do all this great stuff, and click here for a free ebook that's going to tell you all the secrets that we use to create this great stuff. And you click that download now, and it says, hey, tell me your first name and your email address. And then they shoot it to your email. I'm always trying to trick them out. I always give them a fake email first. And then if they just let me download it, then I'm good. But if they send it to my email, then I got to go back and put a real one in. But what these are doing are they're capturing my information so that they can build their email list and then send me messages and offers for additional products. Ebooks are great. Webinars are pre-recorded videos are really good. Free trials, whatever you think is most appropriate for your target customer, that's what you want to do, because that's what's going to get them in the funnel. That's that very first step to get them to know who you are. And once they know who you are, now you can sit them down and talk to them. If you think about it like an event, networking event, a live event, once you invite them to sit down at your table, now you can say, well, let's talk about who you are and what you like and what you want to do, because it should be all about them. And then once you have all of that information, then you can turn around and say, so let me tell you about who I am and what I do. So that's why you want to do this. I'm trying to hurry up and get to this funnel. But the landing page is where you want to send them to download that lead magnet. On that landing page, you can have additional information that's just going to give them, answer all the questions that they will have. This is, again, why I say, even if you don't have multiple pages, even if you don't sell anything, having some sort of page on the internet that your customer can go to and get all these questions asked about who you are, what you do, what makes you so good at it in one place is priceless, rather than DMs and emails and text messages going, what are your prices? How much is it for this? Do you offer this? Can you work on Saturdays? All of that stuff can just be right there. They get all that information and they can decide whether or not to take that next step. Here we are to this funnel. I'm gonna try to quickly go through this here. But this is where your leads come into your business. They start here in this awareness section. This is when they just learn who you are. In that awareness section, you want to be servicing them. So if you look at it, this side tells you the stage that they're in and who they are, what they're most likely doing. This is how you service them in that stage. So when they walk in that door, this is where we talk about the lead magnets. You can do social media posts, ads, all sorts of Google, what's that thing? Google My Business, or the little description that comes up when people search for you. Those are ways you can help them know more about who you are and what you do. When you get to this lead, now they're a lead. They stayed, they went through the website, they said, oh, I think this might be somebody that can help me. So now they're wanting to dig a little further. Here's where you can provide that lead magnet. Here's where you can send them some blog posts. Here's where you can really get them engaged to kind of say, let me give you a little bit more about who we are and why we can help you and who we can help. Because remember, you want your products or your promotional materials to be about them, not about you. Once they get through that discovery phase, now they're really saying, I'm pretty sure this is the one for me. Now you can actually contact them and say, let's get on a call. Now you can email them and say, put them into a, it's not a sequence, campaign. Create a campaign that has a certain emails you send when you first meet them. They get another one in 2 weeks. They get another one a week later. They get another one. Obviously, they can always unsubscribe, but this is where you are introducing introducing them to how well you know them. And how you service them gets a little longer, if you will, and more detailed the farther down that funnel they go. So now they've gotten your webinar, they've gone through your YouTube channel. They're like, I think I'm pretty good. Now I just need to know how much it costs. Now I need to know if it fits in my schedule. All those little last minute logistics, that's what they're looking for in this phase. And that's where you can give them free trials. You can have an FAQ that you can provide that tells all that information, that they can now make the decision, do I want to buy or don't I? I have all the information I need. I know they know me. I know they can solve my problem. Now I just need to make that decision. Am I going to buy from them? Now they get into the sales. Yep, they are going to buy. They get into your cart. They get into whatever system that you have for them to buy. And they click that button. They are now a customer. To make them a promoter is easy. You make that checkout wonderful for them. You send them a wonderful thank you email afterwards. You stay in touch with them. You check in to see how your product or service is working for them. You encourage them to leave a testimony. Then they become loyal customers. Now they're out promoting you and helping you bring more people up into this part of the funnel. So I know I blew through that, but does anybody have any questions on that?
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat or hands up just yet.
All right, that's all right. So when we talk about the slide for the pitch. It can be as basic as this. This is really as much information that you need. What are the lead generation activities they have? How many leads approximately is that going to generate in a month? How many of those leads will become customers? And then that simple calculation based on those sales and my unit price, this is how much revenue I intend to generate. So that is it. Questions? I'm going to leave that slide up because this is the last slide. That's the last slide, I think. Yes. So I'm going to leave that slide up. Does anyone have questions, comments, overall, any last minute things before you go back to the lab and start building up that pitch for Thursday?
I have more of like a technical question.
Yes.
I built my pitch in Canva Pro, and I've never used it to present on Zoom before. I've done a pitch where I had a laptop and then like the actual pitch part was on the screen, that I had a version of it that had all my notes on it, but not everybody saw all the notes. And I'm wondering, can you do that on Canva and like have your version that you see as the presenter that has all your notes, and then as you hit forward, it also shows like the not note version to everyone else? Does it do that?
That is a good question. I don't know that I've never used it for slide presentation. We did have quite a few people last year who used these slides, but I don't know if they had a note section, a separate note section. Maybe somebody who has done that can comment on that.
Carolina says you can save each version of it. But I'm curious because I know it has like a view as presenter thing or view as participant or something like that. And I was just curious if when you share it, when you go to share your screen on Zoom, if you share the one that's meant like outward facing and I'm looking at the one that's inward facing, if I hit the arrow, does it change the slides on both of them at the same time? Because I don't want to dick around with like my mouse in one and my arrow in the other and like have to, I'm not trying to do that. But I know I like having, my own little notes on one, so I know what I'm gonna say, where I'm gonna say it, without everyone seeing all the notes. Because I made it with all my notes on it, and then I'm gonna make the version that doesn't have all those notes on it. So,
Jonna, do you have someone that you can kind of practice on like a separate Zoom as like them being the audience and then you kind of presenting?
yeah, I have a mastermind group with some other business owners, and I already asked her if I can do that tomorrow. I was just curious if anybody has done that on Canva and knows if you can do that.
Not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hold on. If she presents her stuff, yes, thank you. Can she see her own notes and the audience not see them? Or are they gonna see exactly what she's seeing?
Oh, no, I can still see, yeah, because she's gonna be sharing her screen, so they're gonna see exactly what she's seeing.
Gotcha. So it sounds like maybe there isn't an option. However, still try it out. Worst case scenario, have your notes on like index cards, and then that's kind of an old school way around it. But definitely try with the mastermind just to see, because that's a good space for you to then try this out and see if there's anything else that maybe comes up. Sorry, that wasn't super extremely helpful, Jonna, but that's what we have at the moment. All right, there's
You can also like limit the view on your screen share so that it's not the complete view, but it's just the top half. So you could fiddle with that, but that's how I do it. There's like share screen options.
There you go. Maybe you guys can jump on a Zoom together, potentially. If that's helpful at all. Let's see. There are some questions here. Keto, I plan to present in PowerPoint. Any issues with this as an option? Nope. This PowerPoint or Canva, however, both of them are viable options. Let's see. Jessica is looking on YouTube as well, Jana. So maybe you'll hear from Jessica as well if she finds out any additional information.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, it has a presenter mode, like I'm
Mhm.
with it right now, and it says, you know, drag this onto the screen that only you can see it. So there might be like a way that I can make my laptop connects to this external monitor. So there might be a way that I can like put it on my laptop screen, but not on this
Right.
one, but I'd have to mess around with the settings.
Gotcha. Okay.
It'd be way easier if they would just make it easier like that.
Yeah. Can you print slides? Yeah,
Han-
Liz had a similar suggestion. Can you print the noted slide to use while presenting? And sorry, Alice, I think maybe you were gonna say something.
Yes, Hannah, you are using PowerPoint? Because in PowerPoint, when you use the presenter, if you have two screens, you could use one screen for the slideshow and the other side for your notes.
Yeah, it's on Canva, and Canva does have that, but I don't technically have two screens. I mean, I have a monitor and my laptop shows everything from the laptop to it, so I'll have to play around with it and see if I can connect the laptop not and have it stay as a separate screen.
Yeah, because you could do it, because this is how I do it. I have a laptop with a monitor connected to the laptop, and in Windows you have an option that is work like two monitors, and you could have one side with the presentation and the other side with the notes.
All right, cool. I'm gonna play around with it and see if I can get it to do that.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for your suggestions. I don't see any additional questions in here. Oh, sorry, Lancy, I do see one. Can we use projections for that last slide? Kim?
Projections should be done. If you've not done any business, you absolutely will be using projections. If you are, excuse me, if you're just starting out where you haven't had a lot of opportunity to collect data, then you won't have any other option to use but projections. But so projections are fine. You should, but if you tell me you've been in business for 5 years and you've serviced all of these people, I wouldn't expect you to be using projections that are not based in what you've done before. That makes sense.
Awesome, thank you, Kim.
Mhm.
We have another question. Jamilex asks, do you have any suggestions on how lead generations work in the restaurant industry?
Well, we all have seen that with Applebee's and excuse me, Chili's, all of these Wendy's, all of those commercials are lead generation, just getting you in that door. How do you, just like with all the other aspects of your business, lead generation goes right back to your target customer. Where are they looking for the solution to the problem that you solve? Where are your competitors advertising? How are your competitors getting people in the door? Those are the things you want to be looking at and saying, again, all that demographic, psychographic information that says they're most likely going to be here. Not necessarily that's the only place they're ever going to be. But if I have $5,000 of advertising budget, I probably should spend it here because that's where they're most likely to see me. That makes sense. Did that answer the question?
She says yes. Thank you.
Good. I think I saw Liz with a hand up.
Liz, are you still there?
I am, but I don't have a question anymore.
Okay. All right. Jessica, you said coupon inserts. I'm not sure if that's a statement or
Well,
maybe.
they were talking about how do you generate leads, I believe, for like the restaurant industry.
Okay.
And I was saying like possibly like coupon inserts. Like I know I always get those in the mail where I'm not even thinking about it, but I look through it and I'm like, oh man, I got to use this coupon. So I consider that to be a lead generation.
Absolutely. But again, you want to, that strategy is good if you know that your target customer is someone who will do a paper mailer, pay attention to a paper mailer, because you also have digital coupons. And that might be, if your target customer is a younger customer, they're probably going to be more apt to see something on their phone than if your target customer is an older person who is much more used to the traditional clip and save coupons.
This is Keita. I would like to give an example of a lead generation, a digital lead generation, and a way that they're capturing customer information. That's Delta Sonic. So Delta Sonic, you know how you get your gas card, and you could, all you simply do is just link it to your checking account, and then you'll get a discount off of your gas. You'll get that member gas price. So Delta Sonic on Walden and Union, they're the lowest in town. I've tested it all over Buffalo and I've came to that conclusion. But I use my Delta Sonic card, and then somehow they do some type of analysis where they identify that I have not done any car washes or anything. So they sent me a coupon for the interior clean, sanitized, $19.99. And then they got me in the door, and it was a 24-hour, like they made it an exciting hype thing where I had to use it within 24 hours. So I go to the car wash first thing in the morning, so I don't forget to use the coupon. I get there. I went from spending $19.99 to $35.
Yep.
I mean, I was just looking at that whole experience, the hype, how they communicated through the digital form, how they already had my information with being a customer, getting the discount, and they're seeing that I'm using them. They're paying attention to the rhythm. So I'm still in their concepts, and I'm
exactly,
I'm making some adjustments to mine, but they got me in the door. They got me in the door, and they did an upsell.
Absolutely. You should absolutely steal it, because again, you are experiencing everything that your customers will experience. You just have to tailor it to your business. And like you said, they collect the data and then they analyze that data. When they gave you that coupon, they created a sense of urgency. You can't just slide this in your purse and say, well, I'll go ahead and use that coupon whenever. And now you used it immediately in that 24 hours, so you didn't lose it. They upsold you once you got there. Now, when you come back and they want to give you that service again, you won't even think twice about the $35.99 when before you're like, okay, I'm only doing it because it's $19.99. Use that in your businesses. They do it because it works. And now you think of people, all of the advertising and things that they do to get people like me who won't go into Delta Sonic and won't, I look at the lines, I'm like, yeah, no. I think about it and I say, yeah, I'm going to pass because I'm not waiting in that line. But they still understand how to reach me and make me at least consider it. So I stay constantly, especially when we talk about Delta Sonic, I am constantly at this lead level because I see if they can figure out, which they seem to be doing, because now I see they're building bigger car wash stations now. Almost every Delta Sonic I see now has those huge multi-bay car wash stations so that the lines will go quicker. But understanding they have a lot of people who are here because of the lines. So now they're going to do what they can to move those people here. And I guarantee you that they would lead in with something about avoiding the lines, because that's my pain, is the line.
You know what? I just have to add to what you're saying. After I paid for it, they said, "Oh, there's no wait time in interior." So it totally took control over my paradigm. And then when I pulled out of the car wash and I saw it was 3 vehicles in front of me, I said, "Oh, well, it's only 3."
Mm.
So they psyched me out.
Yes. Yes. Psych your customers out. It's okay. That's business. And that's what
Is
I
there,
want. I'm sorry,
oh,
Lancy.
sorry, excuse me. I was gonna ask, is there particular app that you guys might know about where we could like leverage the data that we have and send those type of emails or text messages to clients or customers?
I would say if you want to start, what you're asking about is a CRM, customer relationship management system. I have heard, I haven't used it, but I've heard Zoho is a good one for early stage businesses. I would also say though, if you are new to the process of tracking customers, collecting data, and then analyzing that data to take a certain step, I would say start with Google Sheets or Excel, because you want to start building up that muscle. I have seen more than a few businesses who could benefit from a system, but they go and get a Zoho or I think HubSpot has another one that's good for small businesses, but they get overwhelmed immediately because they're going from 0 to 100 and trying to collect all that data and try to understand what to do with that data. Whereas what you really could want to start with is something simple that says, okay, I'm going to collect the basics, your name, address, phone, email. I'm going to figure out some very specific metrics for my business that I want to capture, that I can see how I can easily get this data from my customer. Yes. I'm sorry. It's just the other part of it is you don't want to make it your customer feel like you are, I don't want to say spying on them, but you want to make it easy and comfortable for your customers to give you that information. So it should be part of a regular process that they do, part of the check-in process, part of the check-out process, something that they're already doing with you, where that you will then now require them to add this information in for you to collect. And then once you get that and you start looking and seeing, well, I want to be able to capture this because now I can see if I had this information, I could send them an email a week before their appointment to sell them this, or let them know that this is available now that they can buy at a higher price. Once you get to working that muscle and seeing all the benefits of collecting that information, you might find other aspects, other bits of information that you want to capture. And now you might be ready for a system like a Zoho that will automate some of that for you. But again, just to reiterate, if you're just starting out, I would say start building that muscle with a spreadsheet. Does that help?
Yes. I think I have some data from just like my booking site and from like social media and stuff. But I'm literally just learning about what CRM is right now. So I'm gonna kind of like do some more research on it.
Because I don't use Squarespace, but I hear that it collects a lot of good information from your customers that you can use. And I almost want to say, oh, where was I? Someone was saying that it will generate reports for you based on that data. But you
Yeah,
want to
that's what I use.
oh, good. So you want to be able to understand what's the data you need and how are you going to use that data. That goes back into your target customer, what your goal is with that target customer, what do you have that's going to benefit that target customer, and then make sure you're capturing the data that will allow you to let that customer know that you recognize they have that problem and you have a solution for that problem.
Yeah, I like how you said like check in and out process, because I
Mhm.
kind of just naturally had one, but when I was creating like the short questionnaire, I made it to where it's not like required. You can, do it as an option. But now I'm thinking like with my next step, that's an opportunity to collect the data at the check-in, at the start of the service, and at the end. So I'm gonna incorporate
Absolutely.
that.
And make it something that is visible, for lack of a better term. I think of the nail place, and I don't get my nails done regularly, but I don't get my hands done. I get my feet done. So when I went, I saw these little cases that people had with their names on it, with tools and things in there. And I said, oh, I want one of those. But that was for people who came regularly, who had a specific color or specific nail stuff that they use. So when they come in, they can get a kit. They get that kit, take it to whoever's doing their nails. They don't have to go over their whole history with that person. The person has everything they need to do their nails right in that individualized kit. What did that make me want to do? It made me want to get my nails done, and it made me want to get my nails done all the time so that when I walk in, I get a kit. So if you think about that with your check-in, if you have some visible way that those people who have opted in and allowed you to collect that data, maybe there's a screen that comes up that says, hey, Lancy, welcome back. Glad to see you since you haven't been here since April 12th. We're happy to have you back. And now the person standing behind them is going, hey, wait a minute. Oh, is it gonna tell my name too? Because I want my name up on the screen like theirs. Those type of things that you build into it will help your customers then say, I want that. And I'm gonna give you some information. There's a commercial out that a woman is different people doing different things, but this woman is standing there saying, yeah, sure, I'll give you my social security number for a free order of French fries. It doesn't take much for people to give you that information. So you just have to make a process for them to do that. But also I would say, make sure you understand what you're going to do with the data you collect, because you don't want to get overwhelmed with all of this stuff and then you don't have any way to actually use it for your business.
I don't know if we have time. I want to just tell you what I was thinking about.
Sure.
So, I'm service-based, like hair business and stuff.
Mhm.
And I want to sell like the products to go home and maintenance, like at home maintenance kits,
Mhm.
kind of. And one of the questions that I already asked is like, do you maintenance your own hair at home, and what products do you use? So it's like, with the data that I have so far, it's like I can have my, I guess, kit as an add-on. So that way when you come for your service, it's already added on. If you need it, you can just purchase it. Like as you're booking your service, you can add on your home kit. That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing.
Can I suggest something a little bit different?
Yes, please.
As someone who really hates doing hair, I think you've all figured out by now, I really don't like doing any maintenance. I need somebody else to do that. But when you're talking about that process, the way you described it really didn't speak to my problem. So instead of asking, what do I do home maintenance and what products I use, if this is a customer that you already have in the door, I would talk about what you, as the stylist, as the salon, what the problems that you are seeing with their hair, how far they've come, but these are the problems that you're still seeing. Recommend a home maintenance routine and then present the kit as a solution, as the routine, the thing that they use for that routine, because now they're going to say, yes, you're right, I do have these split ends of this frizzy hair, and yes, I can do this routine. It looks simple enough. I can do that. And oh, wow, look, you're giving me the products to do it. I can do that. But the data you need to capture for that is not necessarily in your CRM. I mean, your CRM really is about collecting some of that demographic, psychographic data. Does that make sense?
I have a
Thank you.
question. I have a question, Kim. Now, for the customer, from the example you just gave, for the customer that has already ordered that home kit before, would she still add it as an add-on so that they know, oh, let me remember to get my home kit when I book, so that I don't forget while I'm at the salon?
You would use that if they've already ordered that kit before. You know how long that kit should last. Then maybe a week, 2 weeks before that kit is due to run out, that's where you use that CRM to send them an automated email that says, hey, Tony, we noticed that you're about 2 weeks away from your appointment and your kit is about to run out. You can click here to have it ready when you already check out from your appointment, so that you don't even have to spend extra time purchasing it and don't have to worry about it being out of stock.
Nice. Understandable.
Other questions? Everybody ready to pitch? Okay, because we're gonna be going, this is it. This is where it all comes together. And hopefully, as you're putting these slides together and filling out all this information, you're able to see the big picture of your business, because that point of view of being in that owner seat is the one you want to maintain all the time. You are the pilot of that plane, and you have to have that overall vision and be thinking about all of these things that we've talked about over this She Means Business course. That's where your focus needs to be most of the time. Recognizing that as small business owners, we got to do it all. We got to get in there. We got to be in all the seats and all that, wearing all the hats. But that should not be our business model for where we are all the time. This separates this work, this process, doing these things are what separates you from your employees. So that's the muscle you want to build, that owner work muscle, and focusing on these type of things. And hopefully through putting together that pitch, it kind of puts it all in one place for you. So any last questions, comments? Everybody ready? Woohoo! I see that celebration, Lancy.
I don't see anything in the chat, Kim. I think we're good.
All right, I see Kara, can't wait. Woohoo! I can't wait to see. I'm bringing my popcorn on Thursday.
All right, we're a minute away from 7:30, so I think unless you have anything else you want to add, Kim, I think we are good for today's class.
Great, great, great. All right.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you all on Thursday.
Have a good night, everyone.